Hey everybody, Shane here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Roboquest, going for all of the power crystals and the achievement set that goes along with them. The only real thing you need before you start tackling them is going to be the Recon class, so make sure you unlock him and then select him as your character. We're going to keep on him the whole time, so make sure you don't switch to any of the other classes, as you are going to definitely need his mobility abilities. So once you are ready to start, make sure you head into a game to start up a run. First crystal we're going for is going to be the blue crystal. Make sure you start up a run and make sure you get to the first safe room in Canyons. And then once you are here, you're going to get your loadout, and then you're going to have the three-way fork in the road. We're going to take the Oasis path for this one, which should be the only one we have unlocked at the beginning of the game anyways. This is going to lead to you getting Oasis for your Chapter 2. Once you grab your loadout, you're going to need to exit out into the combat zone. Now, we are going to need to get a door open on the next safe room. So in order to get that open, your goal is to try to get through the combat zone in under 3 minutes. So my best advice is to just skip past all of the enemies and make sure you avoid the purple bonus corrupted zone as well as the orange secret zone. And just make sure you punch it straight for the door. So just make sure you look for it. You do not need to kill any of the enemies. You can just head straight for the door, and that should get you to the safe room in well under 3 minutes. If you happen to beat the clock, if you turn to your left, you're going to notice that this door right here with the purple background is going to now be open. It's only going to be open if you make it here this quickly. So once you get it open, make sure you head on inside, and the door behind it is going to lead to the level called the Rift. So the Rift is going to be a corrupted level that is going to be a speed run challenge. Once you open up the door, your goal is to make it to the exit before time runs out. You're going to want to try to run as quickly as possible. You can pick up these orbs along the way that give you a nice little speed boost, as well as take advantage of the rails, which are also going to give you a nice little speed boost. But your goal is to try to make it through this platforming challenge and then get to the end to defuse a bomb. Now, Recon is going to come recommended for this challenge, as you can take advantage of their Blink ability, which is going to allow you a small teleport forward, which is going to allow you to make any of those jumps that you may come short of. So make sure you do take advantage of that. This might take a couple of tries, though, because it is going to require a little bit of practice if you aren't so good at these speedrun challenges. Some of the mobility gadgets will also help out with this. However, they aren't going to be totally necessary. So bare minimum, I recommend that you have Recon for this, as the Blink is going to be a good time saver with making some of those trickier jumps. Nonetheless, the level layout is going to be pretty random. So it's going to be more of practicing your fundamentals rather than remembering the exact level layouts, because the placement of the speed orbs is going to be varied from run to run. Nonetheless, once we do finally manage to get a successful run where we make it to the end, there's going to be a door that's going to signify the end of the speedrunning bit. Make sure you head on inside. There's going to be a bomb in the final room. Make sure you go up to it and then hold the Y button to defuse it. You're going to need at least 3 seconds in order to defuse it. You defuse it by holding Y and filling up a bar. Once you get that thing filled up, you should defuse the bomb, which is going to unlock the exit door. And then inside said exit is going to be our power crystal. This one's going to be the blue crystal, and it's going to be the first of the 6 in the game. Once you pick it up, you should be good for the first achievement of the set. This one's for picking up 1 power crystal, and this one's going to be for 5 gamer score. So once you have that in hand, we're going to head back to base camp, and then we're going to start up a new run. The goal with these next few runs is to open up those alternate paths in the Canyons safe room. So first up, we're going to open up the Ruins path. If you haven't gone already, make sure you head down the Oasis path, and then make sure you keep playing until you get back to the Oasis safe room. Once you are here, make sure you grab the Ruins key, and this will allow you to open up the door to the Ruins path in any subsequent playthrough. So make sure you head back to base camp to start up another run, or you can just restart in the pause menu, but nonetheless, just make sure you get back to the Canyons safe room, and now that we have that key, we can open up the left path to head down into Ruins. So make sure you do that, unlock the door, and then make sure you get to Ruins for your Chapter 2, and then once you get there, we're going to have another level that we're going to need to play a bit through. So make sure you go into the actual level. Once you are here, you are going to grab your starting loadout, and then you're going to actually get into the level. So you're going to have to play about 3 screens or so deep. First screen is going to be your typical combat zone. Second screen is going to be a horde mode survival zone. As for the third screen, which is going to be the one we're going to need to get to, this one is going to be another combat zone, but more importantly, it's going to contain a secret area that we're going to need to get to. So make sure you pay attention on your mini-map and make sure you look for the orange shaded area, as we're going to need to head there in order to get to the secret area we need in order to get to our next thing we're looking for. Once you enter the orange secret zone, make sure you clear it out the best you can, and then once you do, you should be safe in order to start working on opening up the secret. So if you turn to the back corner, you're going to notice that there's going to be a bunch of laser gate arrays right here. So you're going to need to get past this. Hidden around the area are going to be 4 buttons. Each one of the buttons is going to disable one of the laser gate arrays. So you can try to look for them and then press them in order to disable the lasers. However, if you are feeling a little more daring or are playing on a lower difficulty and can take the damage, what you can do is you can just tank your way through the lasers and then just get into the secret area. You should be in the old sewers. Make sure you turn to your right and then grab the tech room key, as we are going to need this in a bit. However, if we keep going forward, there's actually going to be another corrupted level right here that's going to have another power crystal we are going to need to grab. So make sure you head through the door, which is going to take you into Scrapyard. This is going to be a level that takes place in the dark. Make sure you grab your loadout and get into the level. We're going to have a couple of combat zones we're going to need to power through, and at the end of this, it's going to lead to you needing to fight a boss. So make sure you get into the boss room, make sure you grab your loadout, and then get ready for this fight. It is going to be a pretty challenging one, so hopefully you do have the skill set or the gear in order to get past this. You're going to fight the gang of elites, which appropriately enough is going to be a gang of 3 elites you need to take out. They aren't going to be the worst thing in the world, as you are going to fight elites pretty on the regular on the higher difficulties anyways. So just make sure you try your best to take all of them out, and then eventually once you are able to defeat all 3, you should be able to clear the room, and that's going to get the exit open. Inside said exit is going to be our next power crystal, so make sure you grab that one. This one is going to take the form of the purple power crystal, and that's going to put us at 2 out of 6 that we need. Finishing up Scrapyard is going to immediately take you to Fields for your Chapter 3. However, there's nothing stopping you from coming here on a separate run if you happen to want to take that option. So make sure you head on through Fields, and then our goal is to get to the safe room. Once we are in here, we're going to take advantage of the tech room key that we just grabbed at the beginning of the previous level. So after you get your loadout right here, make sure you use that key to open up this door. Inside this part of the safe room is going to be the quarry key, so make sure you grab that. There's also going to be another locked door here that's going to require us to have 25 power cells, which we probably need a fresh run to do. So make sure you skip that for now and just grab the quarry key. Once you have that, we're going to need it to start up a fresh run in order to open up the quarry and then grab whatever secrets are going to be behind that locked door. I am definitely going to recommend you use Recon for this next part. However, this part is going to also be doable with Commando or any rocket launcher weapon if you happen to find one in your run. So make sure you start up the run and then make sure you get to that 3-way fork safe room. Once you are there, you're going to want to take the right path, which is going to take you to the quarry path. Make sure you use that key to open up the lock, and then as soon as you do, before you step through and then head into the actual quarry area, make sure you look slightly to your left. There's going to be a number right here. Make sure you write down this number or memorize it, as you are going to need this to open up another locked door later. Now, this number is going to be unique to every save file, so make sure you try to write down whatever number that you happen to get, and then once you commit it to memory, we can actually start the actual quarry level. Once you actually get into the level, make sure you get into the combat area, and then once you are here, you're going to need to once again be on the lookout for another orange secret area. So make sure you just keep playing through and then keep an eye out on your mini-map. Once you notice the orange shaded area, make sure you head in that direction. You're going to also want to clear out this area the best you can, and then once you have a clearing, you should be able to work on opening up the next secret. This is going to be where that number is going to come in handy. Using the number that's going to be unique to your save file, you're going to want to punch it in using the keypad, and that should open up the door, assuming you got it correct. Head on inside, and this is going to lead you to the excavation site. This is going to be where you find the shovel, as well as the lever for that Easter egg / achievement. But more importantly, for this particular run, we're going to look to our left. There should be a ledge with a door on top of it. You're going to need to reach this ledge. There are going to be a few different ways of doing that. Personally, I'm going to recommend that you use the Recon's blink ability. So do a big running jump from that rock and then make sure you use the blink to get up here. Of course, you also can get up here with a rocket jump, either using Commando's ability or a rocket launcher weapon. But nonetheless, once you get on top of here, make sure you head through the door. That's going to take you into this level called the pit. You are going to need to clear this level, so make sure you head on inside. The goal for the main combat area is going to be to complete the 3 corrupted bonus zones, so make sure you try your best to get through these. These can be a little challenging, especially if you get one that's going to involve a lot of tricky platforming, but nonetheless, make sure you try to get through it the best you can. Once you complete all 3 corrupted bonus areas, you can get that final door open, which is going to take you to the boss room. In the little safe room right before the boss room, make sure you grab your loadout, but more importantly, make sure you grab the cinema ticket right here, which is going to be a big part in unlocking the jetpack gadget, which is going to be very useful, especially on the higher difficulties. Once you are ready to do so, make sure you head on through the door, and this is going to start the boss fight. This one can be a little bit challenging, so make sure you are well prepared for this. It's going to be a flying enemy, so make sure you prepare appropriately. But just make sure you try your best to take it out, and then if you can manage to pull it off, you should be good for unlocking the last door to end the level. And then behind said last door is going to be our next power crystal. This one is going to take the form of the red power crystal, and this is going to be our third one, which puts us at halfway through all of them, which is also going to mean we get the second achievement of the set, and this one is going to be for 10 gamer score. Grabbing the red crystal is also going to allow Heisenbot to start appearing in your safe room camps. You are going to need to encounter him for the first time in order to get the fusion core key, as you are going to need to buy it from him. So from this point onward, if you happen to encounter him in any of your safe room camps, make sure you do buy that fusion core key, but we will cover that in a bit. Nonetheless, we are going to end up in this level called the Aqua Station, so make sure you grab your loadout as you normally would. Again, make sure you keep an eye out for Heisenbot if he does show up. Get into the combat area, and we're going to try to make it to the safe room. Once you get to where the safe room door is going to be, make sure you don't go through quite just yet. If you look to your right, there's going to be a bunch of waterfalls up here. Make sure you platform all the way up here, and there's actually going to be a secret right here in this corner. If you happen to go behind this bit of shrubbery, you should be in this area, which is going to be a shortcut to get to the waste station. So make sure you head on there, as this level is also going to contain another power crystal. There is going to be an alternate way to get to the waste station, which is going to involve the portal that has a 15% chance of appearing next to the corrupted bonus zone in fields. So make sure you take that option if you want to get to waste station that way. There is going to be an achievement to use this portal at least one time, so make sure whatever you do decide to do, get to waste station, and then make sure you try to complete it in order to get yet another power crystal. So, side note aside, we're going to actually get into the waste station level. There's going to be something you can grab right here in the starting room before you get started. It's going to be the stadium ticket, so make sure you grab that, and then make sure you get on with the rest of your loadout. Once you actually get into the level, this one's going to be another speed run challenge. However, instead of speed orbs, we're going to have enemies we're going to need to dodge. I'm going to recommend that you avoid combat entirely, as killing enemies is going to be a huge waste of time. So I'm going to recommend you just try to speed past them. Again, Recon is going to be super handy here, as you can use the blink ability to just get above the level environment, and then just make sure you just walk over the enemies, and then you should be able to have a good time of this. I am also going to recommend that you keep an eye out on your minimap, as that's going to help you navigate some of those tighter corners that may or may not be confusing because of the way the environment is going to be laid out. So just make sure you keep punching it straight. This one isn't going to be too hard. Again, you are going to get nothing for fighting the enemies, so make sure you just avoid them in their entirety and try to look for the path of least resistance in order to get past the next corner. So if you are in a tight spot, remember you do have that blink to take advantage of, so make sure you do use that to teleport and then get to high ground, and then just make sure you try to finagle your way to the next bit of the level, and then try your best to reach the exit. At the end of this, there's going to be another bomb we need to defuse, so we are going to need to have time left on the clock once we do reach the end, because we are going to need that time to defuse said bomb. But once we do defuse the bomb, that is going to be the end of the level, so thankfully we don't have a boss fight or anything to worry about. So here we are coming across to the end right here. There's going to be the door that's going to signal the finish line. Make sure you get into that room, defuse that bomb. Hopefully you have enough time on the clock to do so. Thankfully, there aren't going to be any enemies in the final room, so you should be able to defuse the bomb pretty safely. And then once you get that thing disarmed, make sure you get into this room and then grab the green power crystal. That's going to put us at 4 out of 6. We should be good for another run. However, before we start tackling the next power crystal, we are going to need to get that fusion core key from Heisenbot. So if you haven't gotten it already, make sure you keep doing runs until you find Heisenbot in your safe room camp. The first time you encounter him, he should have the fusion core key available for sale. You are going to need to buy it for 9 power cells, so hopefully you get it about halfway through a run, as you are going to need to save up those power cells in order to buy it. Once you do pocket it, though, it should be yours to keep until you are ready to use it, and that's going to be super helpful, as this next locked door is going to require that we save up a bunch of power cells. So once you are ready to do so, make sure you start up a fresh run. Before you actually get into the run, I'm going to highly recommend that you head on over to the workshop, and at the very minimum, you have both levels of the Power Cell Bank perk activated. Once you have these active, you should start any run with 8 power cells already in your inventory. That should be a good starting off point, as we are going to go for that door that's going to take 25 power cells to open. Again, we're going to want to stick to recon with this, as this next power crystal is going to be behind another speedrun challenge. But before we actually get to that, we're going to need to get that door open. So once you are ready, make sure you hop into the run. The goal for this run is to try to save up at least 25 power crystals by the time we get to fields. So the way to do that is to make sure you try to be as thorough as you can while playing through every single level. Make sure you try to take out all of the enemies, but you're also going to need to be pretty speedy about that, as getting an S rank at the end of the level is going to guarantee you get a ton of power cells as a bonus, even on the lower difficulties. Power cells, of course, are going to be a random drop from enemies. However, since we have a majority of the power crystals unlocked already, you should start getting more elites in your game, and every time you defeat an elite, you should have a guaranteed power cell drop. So make sure you do prioritize those whenever you do find them. I am also going to recommend that you be pretty thorough in clearing out the bonus corrupted areas, as the chests in these are also going to always contain power cells as an optional prize. So do make sure you always choose the power cells as your optional prize, and then we should be able to bank up even more we need for our 25. Lastly, most of the time when we get to a safe room, we're going to have the weapons chest available to us to open. Every time you open one of these, you're going to have power cells as an option in case you don't like any of the weapons. Make sure you always go with the power cells, and as long as you aren't wasting any power cells on the various safe room shops, you should be good to save up your 25 by the time you get over to fields. So as long as you are trying to play through the levels as thoroughly as you can, you should be able to bank up your 25 by the time you get to fields, as long as you are hitting those S ranks consistently and going for all of those extra power cells whenever you can. Remember, fields is always going to be the chapter 3 level, so make sure you pace yourself accordingly. If you do end up getting a surplus, feel free to spend those extra ones on upgrades, but make sure you don't dip below 25, and you should be good. Once you do get to fields, and assuming you have the power cells necessary for opening up that door, we're going to head over to the safe room. Once you are in here, make sure you go into the tech room, which is going to be the door we opened up earlier. And then behind this door is going to be another locked door. And this one is going to require that we use our 25 power cells to open it up. And then once we open it up, we should be able to continue down this path. This is going to end up leading you to this level known as the Doom Gardens, which is going to be another corrupted level that's going to have a speedrun challenge. This is probably going to be the hardest of the 3 speedrunning challenges. This one is going to contain your usual timer that's going to tick down, as well as a bunch of enemies that you are going to have to deal with. However, the thing with this one is you actually need to make sure you fight the enemies, as defeating the enemies is going to be the thing that keeps your timer from ticking down. So you're going to need to balance being thorough with killing the enemies, as well as trying to move as quickly as possible. Also, what's going to be a challenge is this level is going to be filled with explosive enemies, which not only do a ton of damage to you if they do explode, if they happen to detonate without you killing them, that is not going to fill up your timer. This one is probably going to take quite a bit of practice in order to get through it a-okay. If you are struggling doing this with Recon, I am going to recommend Engineer instead, as using the drones in combination with BuddyBot is going to give you a nice option in handling enemies while still moving, so make sure you do explore that path if you want to. Nonetheless, once you do manage a successful run where you can make it into this room before time ticks down, you should be good for the Teal Crystal. So make sure you pocket that, and that's going to put us at 5 out of 6. We should also be warped to this alternate entrance to the Aqua Station, which is going to have this key right here available to us. So make sure you drop down and then grab the Tech Lab key, which is going to be a useful tool in unlocking the Elementalist later. But nonetheless, just make sure you head into the Aqua Station starting area. Make sure you grab your loadout, and then once you have all that, if you head on up here, you're going to have this locked door, which is going to take the fusion core key that we bought from Heisenbot. Use that to open up this door, and then make sure you continue forward until you actually get to the fusion core level. Once you get to Fusion Core, you are going to need to play this level to its completion, as this is going to contain the last power crystal we need, which is going to be the 6th and final one. This one is going to be a pretty challenging level, as it's going to take place over a bunch of acid, so you're going to need to balance combat with platforming to get through this. So try your best to power through. In the meanwhile, once you get to the first safe room, there's going to be an obstacle course here that you need to partake in order to get Randy's nose, which is going to be another big part in unlocking the jetpack. I am going to recommend that you go for it while you are here, just to get it out of the way. But nonetheless, if you happen to make it to the end of the level, it's going to end with a boss fight that we need to get past in order to beat the level and get our 6th and final power crystal. So make sure you get to that boss room. Hopefully you should be able to make it here a-okay. Then all that's left is going to be to defeat the boss, and then once you do so, you should open up that last door, and behind said last door is going to be our final power crystal. So make sure you get that done, and then make sure you pocket the yellow power crystal, which is going to be number 6 out of 6. Once you have this one, in addition to the other 5, you should be good for the final achievement of the set. There it is. This one's going to be for 20 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.